Hey guys, good morning. It's another, you know me, high fashion Leigh. It's me, Leigh the gardener, always in fashion. I'm having such a frustrating moment here. I want to show you we have a major ant invasion. So I've gone ahead and I've come up with a concoction for a DIY ant bait that I think just might work. I haven't put out any kind of chemical traps. We do spray a home defense around the barrier of the house. And this year they're not really getting in. I'm seeing one or two here and there, but the main event is happening here at the foot of my kitchen steps. So I heard that 20 mule power or 20 mule team borax works great for ants when you mix it with sugar. And you soak a cotton ball in it and then put the cotton ball near the trap. And I don't really get the thing with the cotton ball, but I thought, let me go ahead and try to come up with something that feels like it might be a little bit quicker for them to take the bait to their nest. So what I've come up with is I've mixed, and this is no measurement, I eyeballed what would be equivalent to maybe a tablespoon of borax to maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of confectioner sugar, the white powdered sugar. And to that, I want to attract the ants even more. So I added a little bit of honey. I stirred it all up and came up with this pasty mixture, and I put it down in their trail. Now I'm watching them take the actual mixture that I made, and they're taking it back to their little nest. So I'm going to show you what I did, and we'll see how it works. So here's what I'm dealing with. This swarm and this trail. I mean, this is just, it's terrible. I'm just waiting for them to like move into my house. So look at this. Now they've created these big ant mounds here. What a nightmare. It's driving me crazy. So I took the sugar mix with the honey and the borax, which is relatively inexpensive. You can use it for many things, by the way. Now I mixed it into this old yogurt cup so I can throw it away when I'm done. And you can see the ants are actually going in and taking the bait. And they'll take this back. You can see them taking a chunk. And then they'll take it back into the nest. There's a guy carrying a big, you see him carrying that big white chunk? Once this goes back to the nest, this should stop this swarm. So stay tuned. Let's see what happens with this little concoction. This was super easy to make. All right, so I dumped a little bit more out because they're not really venturing into the cup so much, but they are taking it. So I think the honey or even maple syrup, anything that's sticky, I mean, they're really getting in on this one. I think anything sticky added to the borax is going to really attract them. That's my gut instinct. So I thought to myself, what can I do to draw the ants to this borax mixture that would be instantaneous? And I had this vision of a melty popsicle on the ground and ants all over it. And I thought, all right, I don't have a popsicle, but I do have some honey and I do have some maple syrup. So let's see how we can get this sticky and get them to take it. So it's a few hours later and I've been coming out and monitoring the situation with the ants, and quite frankly within 10 minutes I had really broken up the party using the borax mixed with confectioner sugar and honey. Now what had happened was they kind of split up, and we have some enormous colony living under the step that I'm sitting on now, and they're really disrupting all of the polymeric sand and the base sand and all of the packing materials that, you know, the contractors use to build this step and our paver system. So, you know, they've got all the bottom base of the sand lifted up. They've broke through the polymeric sand, which is basically like your grout for pavers. And it's done a lot of damage. So when I saw that the ants had split back up and retreated back to the steps, they were dying off rather quickly. Now, what was happening was the ants were taking the material and they were taking it back into the colony in big chunks. And then some of them were like passing out almost instantly. So the other ants were coming and they were collecting these ants that passed out, and they were, as a team, carrying the ants back to the colony. So I managed to deliver the borax to the colony on multiple levels. Now, I felt like the ants that went under the step, though, didn't get enough of a hit. And in my mind, all I could keep thinking of was, how can I deliver this borax to this colony quickly? You know, there's some things online about having to mix the borax and the sugar, and you soak it in a cotton ball, and then you put the cotton ball inside of a toilet paper roll, and you have to wait. And I'm thinking, what is the purpose of all that? I wasn't really getting an explanation. So I figured, in my opinion, it's because you want to be responsible and not let the bees get to the borax. So you want to try to protect the you know, what it is that you're delivering to the ants in a place where they can crawl in, but other things can't. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do this very quickly and responsibly, and I'm going to manage the situation. So in my mind, all I could keep seeing was a popsicle on the ground, all sticky and infested with ants. So I thought to myself, all right, they're going to go to anything that's juicy and tasty and sweet. So I actually had a couple pieces of cantaloupe in the refrigerator that I was about to throw away anyway that had just gotten way too sweet. And I took a piece and I mushed it up and I basically juiced it. And I mixed some more confectioner's sugar in with that, as well as more of the borax and a little bit of honey. And I put it on a plastic lid from a Galbani ricotta cheese container. Now I save, total side note, I save plastic cups and plastic lids and all sorts of plastic things that I can just throw away for situations like this, when I know I'm going to have to use either something that we don't want to ingest again, or that, you know, something that I can throw away. So anyway, once I delivered the cantaloupe with the borax, they really went in after that. And again, they retreated right back in to the colony. So another thing that I kept thinking of as I was watching them go into the hole, at some point I remember watching some show about primates and how primates will take a stick and they'll stick it into like a termite colony, and then they pull the termites out, and then they would eat the ants. So I thought to myself, okay, I have all these little twigs laying around from my oregano. And again, another side story. The cardinals, for whatever reason, love building their nests with oregano twigs. So there's all these random broken pieces of oregano twigs. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take these really super micro skinny twigs, and I'm going to coat it in this cantaloupe, honey, boric acid mix. And I'm going to take that little stick and I'm going to deliver it right down into the hole where they're entering, going into the entrance of their colony. It didn't take long. Everything is pretty much over now. I effectively delivered this. Now, I did not indiscriminately spray heavy chemicals because I have a big issue with that. We wait and wait, sometimes to a fault, that we wait for stuff to get done going through its process. You know, the ants have a major purpose. They're a serious cleanup crew, but when they start doing this much damage, you have to make a decision. So, you know, sometimes you have to introduce an ant from another colony into, from one colony to another, and then they have an ant war, and then they kill off the extra numbers. And it's all too much. And I'm like, ants are getting ready to get into the house, so I went ahead and took care of business. Now I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what's left of the boric acid stuff. And, you know, a few minutes ago, you saw that big giant trail of ants. Now you can be the judge of this. Yeah, so this is really remarkable. There's very little activity. You can see there's a few ants. I have turned this cup upside down, and you can see there's a little congregation of ants there, but they're eating it. So I'm going to let them stay there. They carried away all of the carcasses, or most of the carcasses of the ants that were left behind. And it's a good thing, because when you take, now you see these ants here are struggling. So when you take an ant that's already got the borax in it and deliver it back to the colony, you're going to poison the whole entire colony. So here's all that I have left out of all that action that was going on. So I've turned the ricotta lid just upside down, and you can see they ate most of it off of there. And that's what's left. So, all right, let's leave that there. So here's my assessment that I want to share with you guys. You know, and we keep saying, we don't want to come off as the people with the answers. You know, this is a journey for us. This is our real life experience. We're not here trying to sell you anything. We're not trying to come off like some experts who have all of the answers. We're just real people living a real life with a garden that we're trying to keep as organic as possible. So we're just sharing our experience with you. So out of gut instinct, I decided to amp up this process of delivering borax to an ant colony. So if you're searching for ways to break up an ant colony around your house or in your garden, and you need to deliver borax, 20 mule team borax, it's called. And I'll share a copy of the box that I have now. My box is older, but there's no expiration on it. So, you know, the new boxes in the store may look a little bit different, but you'll be able to see by the name of the product. The thing with adding the sugar and melting down the sugar and putting it on a cotton ball and all that is just trying to find a responsible way to not indiscriminately just treat a wide area with this. You want the ants to eat it, and they need to deliver it to their colony. So something sticky. My suggestions would be, like I used, confectioner sugar, a little bit of honey, and then I sweetened it up with a little bit of cantaloupe juice. You can use maple syrup, anything. You know, the ants are smart. We don't want them to taste the borax, so you can't put too much. So I didn't measure anything, but you know, like my recipes are always a pinch of this, you know, a dash of that. And that's how I kind of made this concoction, and just using a little bit of common sense. So let's say you use a teaspoon of boric acid. You're going to want to use at least 2 teaspoons of sugar to mask the taste and the fragrance of it, and then something sticky and sweet. You can come up with something, you guys, whether it's a melted popsicle or a piece of old fruit that you can mash down, anything that you think ants will go in after that's going to mask the borax anyway. So make some comments, guys. We hope this, you know, suggestion works for you. I think it may have worked for us, but I'll check back in a few days and let you know what happened and if we actually broke up the ant colony around our house. So thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. But thanks again for your time, guys. I'll see you in the next video.